Welcome back to the MHS channel. First, I'm very curious to know where you're watching from and at what time. Feel free to share in the comments below. Also, if you have any feedback or suggestions for how the channel can improve, don't hesitate to leave a comment.
I am Mia, 31 years old, and I work as a manager at Rudy's Country in Austin. I just moved to a new place to make it more convenient for commuting to work. Everything here would be perfect if it weren't for the eccentric neighbor across from my house. My job allows me to have plenty of free time every morning. Therefore, I usually start my day with a cup of tea and watch the news. The Austin City Police Department has reported the disappearance of a young woman named Gail Morgan, 29 years old. Disappearances always target women and children, those with weaker ability to resist. I muttered to myself, simultaneously considering the idea of applying for a permit to own a gun for self-defense. Seeing the image of the young woman on the news was really pitiful. It seemed like I had seen her somewhere before. It was just a fleeting thought, and I quickly got ready to go to work. The workday was busy since it was the weekend, but the image of the missing girl kept lingering in my mind. Driving home from work at 10 p.m., I accidentally saw my neighbor dragging a cart full of cardboard boxes. I politely greeted him, but all I received in response was an indifferent and emotionless attitude. After a whole day of work until late, I didn't feel tired at all, but just a brief encounter with the neighbor left me feeling frustrated. I told myself I wouldn't bother paying any attention to that eccentric guy anymore. But things didn't simply just end there. I took a shower, changed clothes, and lay down on the bed to relax around midnight. As I was about to drift off to sleep, a noise from an object I couldn't identify woke me up. I sat up, looking toward the window with annoyance and irritation. It seemed to be coming from the neighbor's house, and it sounded like a chainsaw. I got out of bed and walked over to open the window. It was definitely coming from his house, as the lights inside were still on. As I was thinking about how to respond to the noise, it suddenly stopped. But I was already wide awake and tossed and turned until nearly 2 a.m. In the following days, I was busy with work, so I only spent about 6 to 7 hours at home each day. Finally, there came a day when I could relax and rest. I slept straight through until 2 p.m., woke up, had a light salad, and planned to go back to bed. But the sound of arguing from the neighbor's house caught my attention. In front of the neighbor's house across the street, 2 women from the neighboring houses were showing clear signs of frustration. I could faintly hear the argument, which seemed to be about the neighbor refusing to clean his house, causing garbage smells to affect the 2 families next door. The neighbor threw them hostile glares, his mouth constantly muttering to himself. "I'll clean up this afternoon," he said, then stormed inside and slammed the door shut. I sighed in frustration and went back inside. Thankfully, the unpleasant smell hadn't reached my house yet. By evening, I saw that neighbor drive back in a small pickup truck with something large and heavy in the back, like a wardrobe. At that moment, I wondered what kind of noise the night would bring. But after that day, there were no more noises or complaints about the unpleasant smell coming from the neighbor's house. I thought maybe things would settle down as long as I didn't pay any more attention to that guy. But fate had one final encounter in store for me with him, one that would leave me with an obsession I couldn't escape. Once again, I saw the news report about the mysterious disappearance of Gail Morgan. In that moment, I jumped up, my gaze instantly turning toward the neighbor's house. That's right. It was her, the girl who had lived at his house for a while. I had seen her a few times, but just only briefly. Chainsaw, the smell, the wardrobe. I pieced everything together and suddenly shuddered. I rushed to lock all the doors in the house, called the police, and chose to remain anonymous. About 20 minutes after the police arrived, he was handcuffed, escorted to the car, and another SWAT team arrived to search the house. I couldn't see what happened inside. The next day, following the news, The police announced that they had found Gail, but she was not intact. She had been hidden in the fridge and freezer in the neighbor's house. The reasons behind the neighbor's brutal actions and his criminal mindset were beyond the explanation of any expert. I didn't go home for a week after that and chose to stay at a hotel because of the haunting fear. I couldn't bear the thought of living across from the home of a cold-blooded, sick murderer. The story above is based on a real event that occurred on May 22nd, 2019. The Michigan police in the United States received a tip-off call. The caller concealed their identity and provided the police with a single address, telling them that they would find Kelly Jean Warner, the woman who had been missing for weeks, at that location. At that moment, no one could have imagined that the phone call would lead them to uncover a truly horrific case, one that would haunt many of the American police officers involved. The perpetrator was the victim's boyfriend. He imprisoned her and used all kinds of brutal torture to make his girlfriend lose her basic human physiology and have to rely entirely on him. Finally, he murdered and dismembered the unfortunate girl into many pieces and hid them in the house, living as if nothing had happened. The killer was considered one of the most cruel and perverse criminals in U.S. history. I'm Lewis, 37, working in medical aesthetics. I've got 2 spots, one in Dallas and one in Houston, Texas. So this story isn't about me. It's about a friend who works in the same field, and yeah, I kinda had a hand in that whole mess. My friend Joey, straight up the most naturally gorgeous person I've ever met. Joey's 2 years younger than me. His parents wanted him to be a lawyer, but he bailed on that and jumped into construction on his own. He's doing pretty great, making bank off big and small construction gigs. No doubt Joey's good looks have totally helped him land those deals. Construction work's tough with all the sun, wind, and dust, but it doesn't mess with Joey's looks. If anything, it makes him even tougher and more good-looking. The cash he's making isn't enough to keep up with his wild nights at bars and clubs. With his all-over-the-place attitude, Joey up and quit his construction gig again. I'm over that exhausting job. I want good money, but with less hassle and a cleaner, comfier setup. Joey asked me to teach him about the beauty biz. I'll hook you up with some courses. Joey cut me off and goes, "No need to waste time. I'll just come to your clinic to learn." After a lot of convincing, I finally agreed to let Joey start with some basic stuff. Joey's pretty sharp, so it didn't take him long to catch on and pick things up. It took Joey like 3 days to get the hang of waxing and hair removal. With his looks, Joey helped me pull in a ton more customers. "Lewis, I'm opening my own cosmetic clinic next month." Joey dropped that bomb on me, and I was totally shocked. "But you..." "Watching you work," Joey shrugged. "It's easy. Cosmetic surgery is not as hard as I thought." Even though I tried to talk him out of it, Joey's confidence just kept growing. Less than a month later, Joey's cosmetic clinic was all set up and running. Joey straight up crushed it again in the new field. Joey's making crazy money selling the whole responsibility and reputation thing in the beauty industry. But slowly, Joey's customers started complaining about the service. Joey fixed it by shutting down the shop, moving to a new spot, and pulling in a whole new crowd. With that slick business move, Joey's beauty spots just kept opening and closing, running at full speed the whole time. He just straight up bought a big villa without even thinking about it. That was the only thing left, since Joey blew all his savings on his crazy lifestyle. On top of doing unlicensed cosmetic surgery, Joey also went all in, taking on cases that needed real medical know-how. And then things got way worse than just some allergies or complications. One afternoon, I got a call from Joey. As soon as I picked up, I was freaked out by a girl screaming like she was in pain. Lewis, what do I do about this allergy thing?" Joey yelled into the phone. Before I could even respond, the girl's moans got louder. I heard medical stuff breaking, and Joey was screaming and cursing. Joey, what the heck did you do? What's the client's situation right now? I gave her anesthesia. She was twitching with her mouth wide open. Oh my God, stop it! Then the call just cut off. I called a few more times, but Joey didn't pick up, and the same thing happened the next few days. A few days later, the news came out about a girl named Cassie going missing. The police looked into her recent stuff and found out she'd booked an appointment for black hairy tongue treatment at Joey's clinic. Feeling like something was really wrong, I called Joey right away, but he still didn't pick up. 6 days after they announced Cassie was missing, the cops found a suitcase in the basement of the villa with her body in it. The villa owner? Yup, it was Joey again. Joey sold the villa cheap because it was falling apart, all to cover his out-of-control spending. After selling the villa, Joey also hid the suitcase with Cassie's body in the basement. At the trial, he admitted guilt and said he'd been hammered on booze and drugs while treating Cassie, and that's what caused the accident. I really wish I hadn't asked for help from someone so reckless and messed up. This story is based on a real event, the tragic cosmetic accident of Maria Pilar Cruz that took place in 2003 in New York. Maria, dealing with black hairy tongue, made the mistake of choosing a cosmetic clinic instead of going to a hospital for proper treatment. Then, Maria's life came to an end at the hands of Dean Fajilo, a self-proclaimed cosmetic doctor who started out just doing basic hair removal. Dean's perfect looks and sharp mind were his weapons, helping him trick countless customers into trusting his so-called cosmetic expertise. Behind that flawless appearance was an empty soul, long corrupted by alcohol and illegal substances. I once helped out a killer with all my enthusiasm. I'm Sarah, a policewoman in New Mexico. Been doing this for over 6 years. So, like 5 years ago, I was driving west on I-40, and I saw a silver Honda CR-V just chilling on the side of the road. What was noticeable was this short woman standing by the car, looking totally confused. Since I'm police, I didn't even think twice. I pulled over to help her out. Hello, can I help you? Oh, hi, officer. I'm good. My friend's on the way. Should be here in a few minutes. For real? You sure you don't need any help? Oh, yeah, I'm good. Thanks a bunch. I dipped once I was sure everything was cool. About an hour later, I went back on the highway, and it was the same silver CR-V and the girl. She probably still hadn't gotten help, so I pulled up again. You're still here? Oh, you? Yeah, my friend's still on the way. What's up with your car? I was driving and boom, had to pull over right here. You don't got a spare tire? Oh no, my friend's bringing it. I told the woman I'd help since it was getting dark. I think I should grab a spare tire for you. What do you think? Awesome, thanks a ton. Come to my car. I'll see about getting a spare for you. Can I grab the bag from inside the car first? She seemed iffy when I suggested going to the police car. Nah, no need. Get over here quick before it gets dark and we waste more time. The woman still seemed iffy. Looked at her car for a sec, like she was thinking, then hesitated before following me. Right when I got to my car and was about to grab my phone, the radio buzzed with a message from dispatch that gave me the chills. Attention all units. State Investigation Force requests assistance. Officer is with a female suspect. License plate check indicates the woman is a suspect in a New York murder case. Proceed with caution. My heart started racing. My ears were ringing, and my head was all spinny. It took me a few seconds to wrap my head around it, chill out and deal with it. Good thing I didn't let her grab the bag from the car, or things could have gone way worse for me. The woman was standing in front of me all calm, but her eyes were non-stop scanning everything around us. I grabbed my phone, called my partner, and tried to drag out the convo with her. "How long you been here?" Had to ask 3 times before she finally answered. I think like 20 minutes. Nah, you've been here for like an hour. Hello? Hello? Oh man, I'm with the owner of the busted car. Yup, that's the license plate I just reported. No. I hung up, no spare tire, and tried to tell my partner everything I could. Hold up, they're gonna call back any second. Being police meant I couldn't just slack off. Yeah, I heard. Yup, that's the spot. I-40 West. Got it. I double-checked with my partner, trying to sound as chill as I could. They're bringing a spare tire. How long you been driving? Like 10 hours, I don't know. Seriously? You tired? Can I go back to my car? I'm cold. As soon as she said that, she just turned and dipped, even though I kept calling after her. Wait, what's going on? Hey! I was pretty confused, just trying to make sense of everything as fast as I could. I got you. I'll grab the thing you need. Don't worry about it, No time to mess around. I just tackled the girl, slammed her to the ground, twisted her arms behind her, and slapped on the cuffs. What the hell? You're hurting me! Oh my god, no! She kept yelling. A guy ran over from a distance. He was super tall. For a second, I thought it might be the friend of the suspect talked about, and I wasn't sure I could take him on. You need any help, officer? Oh, yeah. Can you help me hold her hand? The guy jumped in to help. I let out a sigh of relief and said thanks when I found out he was just a random person passing by. My partner showed up just in time to take the female suspect to the station, and right after that, she got handed off to the NYPD for more questioning. This story is based on a true event, and the whole thing went down in 2021. The suspect's identity was identified as Hayan Deng, 31 years old, of Chinese origin, working at a nightclub in New York. The victim she killed was her lover, Justin Lee, originally from Fujian. He was married with 2 kids. Hayan Deng and Justin Lee had a major falling out when they couldn't agree on how much compensation he should give her after they broke up. In the end, she decided to take her lover's life with a revolver. That day, the female officer was incredibly lucky. I really admire her bravery and how professionally she handled the whole situation.